Welcome to the Iowa Speedway here in Newton, Iowa. We're getting ready to kick off the second half of the DRL Summer Series season here in 2022, the fifth race of 8 here. It's the Mountain Dew 400, and as I said, we come to you from southern Iowa here today. Newton is the town that Iowa Speedway is located in, and ready for 50 laps here at the 7/8 of a mile short track. Here and I'm Logan, and I am joined alongside I am joined with Andrew, and we're ready to get going here in the Mountain Dew 400, and so is Reggie Fogelman in the 24. He's going to start on pole for today's race, but passing can be pretty easy early on from the restarts here at Iowa, from the starts and restarts, so we'll look for him to get past early. A couple other things before we start the race, however, is the points. Braden Perez in the 87 car, he starts fourth today. He's leading the points with 157 points. No win yet for the 87, but we'll have to see if he does get that one. If he does get a win here in the next 4 races. Second in points is the 13 of Nathan Ormond, 8 points behind. He won at Coca-Cola Super Speedway a couple races ago. And Logan DeCarlos, the Hillside winner, is 14 points behind. Oh, the engines are about to fire, and we're about to get underway here at Iowa Speedway, so let's get them rolling for the pace lap. The engines fire here at the Iowa Speedway, and as you see, Reggie Fogelman starts from pole here today for the Mountain Dew 400. Alongside him is number 2, Ethan Lewis, and on row number 2, Roger Parker in the 20 rolls off from third, alongside points leader Braden Perez in the 87. Starting fifth for today's race is Owen Miles in that 67 IKEA machine, and alongside him is Zachary Fitzwater in the 30. In row number 4, we have Andy Thomas in the 23 and Will Harris in the 1. And then, seen on row number 5, the 40 of Jordan Watt, who's top 5 in points coming in today's race, and of course Logan DeCarlos in that 31. One at Hillside and his third points. The pace car is already pulled down here at this short track, and we're getting ready to go green. And Reggie Fogelman takes off. Green flag in the Mountain Dew 400. Off of turn number 4, Roger Parker in the 20 goes straight to the lead here on lap number 1. Reggie Fogelman's going sitting down for second now, like Lewis as well, and Owen Miles is going to push him up the track a little bit into turn 1, looking for that third spot. And everyone got away nice and well. It's down to 2 wide for the whole field, and Braden Perez, he's getting put 3 wide. He's already fallen through to almost 20th place, or even worse right now. He started 4th, but Parker's starting to pull away here. Lap 2, he's up by a half a second over Ethan Lewis already. Owen Miles, Zachary Fitzwater, and then Burt Macklin. And Reggie Fogelman continuing to battle for the last spot in the top 5. It looks like Macklin will get that advantage on the inside lane, as you will commonly see here at Iowa Speedway. So a great start for Parker. Driving around his outside, falling way back. Don't really know what happened there. I would assume I hit a wall, but do not know at this time. Wide action back here. The 13th move on the 19th, so I'll put Nathan Ormond up into, I believe that's, 10th place. Inside for a full Stravik, but Stravik blocks the inside very well. And now 11th place has also changed. The 19 of Roberto Crown Jr. He's been falling back 2 positions. Another lap led for the 20 of Roger Parker. He still has about a half-second gap on lap 6. And Parker continues to maintain that gap. Ethan Lewis and Owen Miles running pretty close together in second and third, and I'm sure Miles is starting to think about making a move to the inside of number 2. But I'm sure that it's probably in the best for both of them if they can just catch up to Parker and work together. That would, of course, involve no passing. But we'll see Miles definitely a little lower through the corner than Ethan Lewis does, trying to get some clean air on that nose. Single file through most of the top 10 right now. Closest side-by-side battle is Colin Cropley in the number 10 car, looking like he's going for the 14th spot, and Roberto Brown Jr., who's fallen back quickly. And Ryan Durrani rounds out the field right now, just behind Kate Onyx, Siminoff, and Eddie Watkins also back here, and of course, like we mentioned, Braden Perez. It looks like he's holding this group up in the 20th spot. 5 guys, and they're all, looks like they're a full second behind Bradley Green, and it might be continuing to get worse. Oh, Will Parrish is in the pit lane. In the number 1, that's a tough break and a tough way to start the race here for him. Meanwhile, what we did not see was Owen Miles going around Ethan Lewis for second. Now they're almost a full second back to Roger Parker, but Parker may have to be with Will Parrish here in just a little bit, depending on how up to speed that number 1 gets. We're already starting lap 10 of 50 here, and the laps go by real fast. But Parker continues to lead every single lap so far.
So, very unexpected pit stop for the number 1 of Will Parrish. Don't believe that was strategy. They had a tire go flat or a mechanical failure that they were able to fix really quickly. But I guess he is pulling away from the 20 Roger Parker, so I don't think he'll be an issue until later in the stint. Rangers all pit, then he'll be back up to the pack. Ethan Lewis putting the pressure back on to number 67 of Owen Miles. But it's really easy to block here. Just hold that inside line. And really nowhere to go except the apron. And that will lose you speed. So he's going to hold on to second place for now. As the 4th place car of Zachary Fitzwater is starting to close in on these 2 people. These 2 drivers battling for second position.
Yeah, you said it was pretty easy to block here, but it is also a common method on any short track is to bump and run for the position. And Owen Miles is holding this group of cars up. The top 10 is slowly starting to condense and tighten Nicholas on up. Here, Burt Macklin sliding a little wide to turn 3. Reggie Fulton in the Polster looking to his inside. This is the 5th spot. Can't get anything yet as 7 maintains position, but Owen Miles continues to hold up Ethan Lewis and the rest of the top 10. Roger Parker's pulling away, but he's coming down the pit road for the first scheduled stop of the day here at Iowa, out of 2 that we'll have, out of 3 that we'll have, if the fuel mileage is right. So, fuel window is about 15 laps here at the Iowa Speedway, maybe a little less too. But Parker, Miles, and Lewis, the top 3 are all down. The first driver to stay out was the 24 of Fulton in the 6th spot. And at the time that Will Parrish pitted, going back to the number 1 car, he pitted right around lap 10. And if he saves enough fuel, he can make this race on 2 more stops, along with the rest. Yeah, so he should, if he gets back on with the rest of the field here, as it looks like he will. He's already gotten past Lewis off the pit road, and he's gonna get past Miles at 67. This may be, it looks like he was only 1 lap down before this, so I don't know if he's unlapping himself right now, or if he's already literally up to the 2nd position on the fresh tires here, in which case we see how much fresh tires does for a driver here. Roger Parker continues to lead this group, and Parrish does have that position, but he's under pressure from Miles. Here comes Miles. Contact into turn 3. Miles is going to force his way by on the 67. Parrish will drop back to 3rd as they pass everyone else on the pit exit. And, lap 17 of 50 here at the Iowa Speedway in the Mountain Dew 400, and it looks like Will Parrish might be back in this thing. He can manage to save enough fuel to make it to the end. We'll have to see how that plays out for the rest of the race.
So, speaking of fuel mileage, just before the pit stops began, Logan said about 15 laps. That would put the final pit stop around lap 45. So you gotta be wondering if these leaders are gonna try and stay fuel and make it to the end, very close to the end, that they could potentially coast to the finish line in the last lap. The 20, it's like he's extended his gap through the pit cycle, now 1.5 seconds from the last lap on the 67 of Owen Miles. But amazing strategy called by the number 1 Will Parrish. He's gonna get up to the 3rd position. Now, remember that he's on more warm tires than this year, so wouldn't be surprised if he's, and now he's gonna pass Peter, he's down to 5th now. As I was saying, if he's gonna be passing more often due to a lack of grip, he could have to make a pit stop in about 5 laps. As the 42 of Kate Onyx to the inside, and doing the same move into the same corner. Oh, wow.
Yeah, those old tires are really making a difference, even though they're only 5 laps younger than the rest of the field. You can see how big the difference is with Will Parrish. He's dropping like a rock through this field right now. He's fallen like 5 seconds in just about. Oh no, he's coming down again after 10 laps, so he's not going to make it to the end with the leaders here. Only lap 22 of 50 now, parked across the line. So unfortunate news for Parrish. But we'll have to see if the leaders come down at the same time as well. Roger Parker has been the leader this whole race. He's led almost every single lap so far on the 20. 1.5 second advantage on Owen Miles right now, who currently runs second, another 1.5 seconds ahead of Ethan Lewis. And then Burt Macklin and 54, they can keep the top 5, but it's a battle for 5th between 3 different cars here. We've got Cole Stravic, Andy Thomas, and Colin Crockley all looking for 5th, or 5th through 7th. Thomas pushing Stravic up the track just a little bit, and she'll get the 5th position successfully, and you see Kate Onyx ahead of them. Don't be confused by that 42. She is a lap down, along with the 7th one of Osmond, who is further back in this pack. He's all the way back here. He currently runs last right now. Of course, we know Will Parrish is another lap down here. And Braden Perez fallen all the way to 20th, and he has stayed there. Oh, Parrish is now 2 laps down. He just got passed by Parker. I wasn't sure if that was only 1 or 2 laps, but Parrish fallen to last now, as we are about to hit halfway in the Mountain Dew 400 this time by Roger Parker, and a closing Owen Miles lead the field here. Miles just cut down a 1/4 second. We'll have to see if he gains any more time. Wait, the update, no, only 100 now that we actually look at that he's gaining time, he stops doing it. Parrish, on 5 lap pressure tires or so, he's going to zoom right past Parker. That's going to lose Parker some time as he runs the outside lane through turn 3. The 20 comes off of turn 4, and Miles continues to get closer. Lap 27 of 50 now, and Miles has gotten within a second.
A correction from Logan earlier, the 1 car of Will Parrish is actually again on 1 more stop, just about lap 35. Hit it on lap 20, so if it's 15 lap fuel window, he could still make it. It's going to be really close. And more time being closed in by the 67, now only the second off of our leader. Just ran wide off that corner though. And he is coming in for a pit stop along with our leader, Roger Parker, and Owen Miles into the pits.
Lewis stays out from the 3rd spot. We'll see if this works for him. I have a feeling it won't, though, because older tires, we've seen how big of a difference they make. Parker comes down pit road. Lap 29 of 50 now, so we've got 22 laps to go here in the Mountain Dew 400. 20 stops in pit stall number 3. The right side goes up on him and Owen Miles' car. And if we get a slow stop here from Parker, that's going to be crucial toward the race because he's led. He's been very dominant in this race so far. Miles has been his only competitor. As we have seen, 4 tires and fuel for both of the leaders here. Burt Macklin's coming off the pit road as well, but I think Parker has a better stop over Miles. Meanwhile, the rest of the field starts to file into the pit road to complete the second round of green flag stops here. like Andy Thomas let the field down. And Parker comes off of turn 4, unlapped himself. And Miles is much farther behind than he was before. Will Parrish is still a lap down as well, as we wait for the cycle to play out here. But what we can tell you is that Lewis is still going to be in the 3rd position here over Burt Macklin. They're side by side down the front straightaway. Lewis holds the inside line. He's going to keep Macklin up on the top. Macklin sent it into the corner, but he's not going to keep the position there. Parrish just has gotten himself back on the lead lap. We'll see if the same thing happens to him that did earlier now, as it looks like he's still falling back on those old tires. We'll have to see if, if we're anticipating like a 5-lap run to the end from the last round of pit stops. We'll have to see how far Parrish falls back after like 5 laps here. Lewis goes to his inside now. Back to the 3rd position. Burt Macklin's going to take him in 1 corner as well. But he's just losing a lot of time. And Roger Parker has put almost a second on Owen Miles versus where they were at the beginning of the last pit cycle. Andy Thomas and Colin Cropley continue to battle closely for the 6th spot, and if they catch Parrish, they'll be quick again. Here comes Cropley now to the inside, sending the 23 up the track. Volkswagen watches on along with Roberto Crown Jr. Nathan Ormond, Reggie Fogelman are also back here having a battle for the 10th spot. Jordan Watt as well in the 40 joining in. Fogelman can't get the spot. He forces Watt wide. But Nathan Ormond and Reggie Fogelman keep the battle going for 10th and 11th. And as we still keep an eye on Parrish, it's been about 5 laps since they finished that cycle and he's still 5th. So we could possibly see a 5th place run out of Will Parrish here. He's good enough to make it on fuel for the rest of the race here on 1 stop. He's just falling quickly. He needs to have a good stop, so his pit crew needs to be lights out on that number 1 BMW car for him to make position. Contact once again. Colin Cropley side-swiping the 1. Andy Thomas, Cole Stravick, they're all flowing right around him like water on a rock. And now Parrish comes into the pit road, right on the edge of the fuel window nonetheless, but it looks like he'll still make it to the end here. So we'll see if he comes back out in 3rd again once those leaders pit, and probably about 7 laps, maybe a little less than that. Once again, Owen Miles continues to try and close the gap to Roger Parker, but it's still not doing much. He's close 2 tenths down, which puts him at 1.5 seconds behind here. 13 laps to go for Roger Parker. And Miles is just... As you see, Burt Macklin and Ethan Lewis still remain in their positions about a second apart as well. In 3rd and 4th, and Colin Cropley continues to hold off Andy Thomas to the 5th position. They're over 6 seconds back of Roger Parker. Cole Stravick looking to get back to the 5th spot as well. Roberto Crown Jr. has fallen back. He's slowly fading toward Nathan Ormond here in the 9th spot. And of course, we know Kate Onyx is still a lap down here. Along with Sam and Oskin, they run 22nd and 23rd as it stands right now. Here comes Andy Thomas right on the back bumper of Cropley. Still can't make it to the inside there. Cropley continues to hold the 5th spot, and now Will Parrish is pretty much pushing Owen Miles here as he continues to close in on Parker. 10 laps to go.
Entry on the Colin Cropley and Andy Thomas battle. That has been fun to watch. Cropley and Thomas have been progressing all day long, and quite sadly, I don't think they've really been able to do anything about it. They value each other. It's good, but hasn't been able to gain on them though, so I guess it's fine. 67 of Owen Miles, though, is closing in on our leader. Slowly, he might not get to the end of the race. The leader still have to make one more pit stop. The only driver that doesn't is the one who is right at the back bumper of Miles.
He slowed down the back straightaway. Ethan Lewis just flew by him, and Parrish is still being held up as well. I don't know. He may have just had a problem there or something, but Ethan Lewis is flying right now. He just cut down from that lap, and he passed a car as well. Yeah, Parrish's going to leave Miles right behind as well. That 67 is coming right down pit road, and Ethan Lewis is going to be a new player in this race. In 3/4 behind Parker, which we have not seen pretty much since the start of the race.
You're gonna have to watch the one car though. He just went around these leaders as they came down. We'll have to see how close he's going to be compared to the leaders coming off of pit road. Our top three and get the car list that was right in front of Parker. Almost an incident there, but they're gonna sort it out. And that's up to the pit crews. Ethan Lewis is going to go for a 2-tire stop, same as Parker. He's not going to get away faster though. Parker's across the yellow line. He's just trying to get away as fast as possible. It's going to be a 5.5 lap shootout for these guys. Where is the one car?
And Will Parrish is not going to be a player in this. But as we saw, another great stop for that 20 team of Roger Parker. He's going to pull away from Ethan Lewis now. And you could see it on pit exit. The gap was much bigger than before. It's going to be maybe almost 2 seconds now. Colin Cropley broke into third. He and Burt Macklin both got around Owen Miles in the 67, so he's going to fall probably maybe just almost out of the top 5 if Cole Stravic can close in here. But Parrish is mired back. Looks like he's going to be around the spot. So not definitely what they were hoping after that unscheduled stop early for the one team. And, they were running up front off the pit cycles, but it's not going to come to be here at the Iowa Speedway. Parker has a 2 and 2.25 second lead over Ethan Lewis. Domination on and off on the track and on the pit lane. And it's a winning recipe for that 20 car if he could just hold on for 3 more laps.
Roger Parker had a phenomenal pace all day, and honestly, I would compare this to our DRL 500. We had a leader led every single lap of that race, overtook on the first lap, same gear, third place to first. Roger Parker also had an amazing pit crew. They've kept him out in front, and they've extended his gap every single time he can close in on. Ethan Lewis barely took anything off of that lead this lap, and he looks like, unless he has a very major problem heading into the white flag, this race is over for Roger Parker. Yeah, he's going to take the white flag this time at the Mountain Dew 400.
Roger Parker leads by just under 2 seconds over Ethan Lewis as he heads into turn 1 for the final time here. Nothing to be concerned about in the way of lap traffic either. Benny Watt is straight away ahead, and coming through turns 3 and 4 for the final time to cap off a dominating day here at the Iowa Speedway. Roger Parker in the number 20 is going to win here in the Mountain Dew 400. And Ethan Lewis is going to be 1.9 seconds behind. Just one of the numbers that shows how dominant here Roger Parker was. Started third, took the lead from the first lap, and never looked back. And truly a deserved win if you've seen any so far this season. Of course, you mentioned Brian Durrani in the DRL 500, led every single lap except one there. Durrani put on quite the show today, and this is probably the second most dominant performance of the season by that 20 team. So, with the results being official here at the Mountain Dew 400, we've got Roger Parker, Ethan Lewis, Colin Cropley, Burt Macklin, and Owen Miles, the top 5 here from the 7/8 of a mile speedway. Cole Stravic, Andy Thomas, Nathan Ormond, Roberto Crown Jr., and Tyke Nicholas round out the top 10. And something we did not catch, Reggie Fogelman, the pole sitter, fell out with a tire problem. He retired from the race and will finish last. Sam Adowski and Kate Onyx both laps down in 22nd and 23rd. And Braden Perez did improve slightly to the 19th spot, but Nathan Ormond, I believe, should have the lead.